In this video I'm going to show you the steps that I took to disassemble this rifle to the point where I felt comfortable enough to Duracoat it and give it a detailed cleaning. In my research on how to disassemble this gun, I came across a lot of stuff for the Henry repeaters, but nothing really specific to the Ithaca Model 72. I did, however, come across a uncopyrighted, reprinted version of the original manual for this gun. I'm going to share that right now for anybody that might be interested in that. I'd also like to say that I am not a gunsmith. The way I did this was I researched disassembling lever action rifles, and I took that information and took my best guess at disassembling this one, and while I was doing it I was taking detailed pictures so that I knew it would be reassembled properly. Alright, with all that being said, let's get right on to the process of disassembling this rifle. The first step for me was to remove the buttstock, which entails removing the screw that goes down through the tang on the receiver. Once that's removed, you can slide the buttstock right off the rear of the weapon. After that, I removed the cover of the receiver, which is 2 screws on either side of the receiver. Remove those and the cover of the receiver slides right off the top. Now you can remove the bolt out of the rear of the receiver. So at this point the gun is basically field stripped for a basic cleaning. If that's all you're doing, you really don't have to go any further than that. For a more detailed disassembly of this rifle, the next thing that I did was remove the locking block pin, which in turn released the locking block and the locking block spring. The locking block spring you can actually see through a small opening on the left hand side of the receiver. And just a little FYI, I was removing my pins from right to left if you're oriented behind the buttstock of the rifle, and the pins themselves didn't seem to be directional to me. Moving on, the next pin that I removed was the lever pivot pin, which actually makes it possible to remove the lever. After that, I removed the hammer pivot pin, which then you can remove the hammer, the mainspring, and the mainspring guide. And last but not least, the final pin that I removed was the trigger pivot pin, which releases the trigger and the trigger spring. Now, I didn't attempt to remove the elevator in this rifle just because I didn't feel it was necessary for the purpose of me Duracoating or giving it a detailed cleaning. And another little FYI is that there is a small screw right in front of the trigger on the bottom of the receiver. It actually has nothing to do with your trigger. It actually adjusts the elevator inside the receiver. Now, the reassembly of this rifle is the disassembly in reverse. Alright, that pretty much sums up the information that I gathered when I was looking into the disassembly of this specific model of rifle. I hope that helps somebody that's trying to do the same thing. Feel free to leave your questions and comments, and be safe and God bless.